For our sand casting, we have a series of molds that are 4 inches wide and long on the inside and about 2 inches tall. And we have got some damp sand here with about 4% water. And we're going to do one mold with the damp sand. I got some damp sand in here. And we're going to put this pattern in there, and then we're going to we'll put talcum powder over it, and we'll do another one on the top. Okay, now I have the sand packed in this mold, and I have this square piece right here to locate it for another piece on top, and then I have a plastic 3D printed pattern put in there, and so it took quite a bit of time to pack that around. And this white stuff you see on top is that baby powder. And so what we'll do at this point is just pack some more damp sand, or put another mold on top, and we will line it up. And then we're going to pack some more sand around that, and I'll make a pour spout that goes down and goes in there so we can pour molten aluminum in here. Okay, on the back side, this is just damp sand, and it's just packed down there, and it's looking pretty good. I'm going to put some talcum powder on the bottom to help it so it doesn't stick. Okay, we're putting sand in the top, and we have this mallet that we're using to pack the sand in. And I did put some more baby powder on the bottom. The baby powder is talcum powder. It makes it so we get a nice layer that doesn't stick. But this is packing in pretty good. Okay, we got it pretty good there. I'm just going to pack this down there, and then we're going to use a popsicle stick, and we're going to try to see if we can stick this down in here, and see if we can touch, and we can make a pour spout. Okay, so we'll make it bigger here. I can feel the so it's not round, but I got it set up. So that okay. Okay. What I'm going to do near now is just put some bunch of baby powder on this. Ooh, that should be plenty. So nothing sticks to that, and then I'm going to, and we're going to make sure that this is flat. Okay. I found something round with the screwdriver. And we can make it bigger, and then we're going to pack around it while we're doing that.
Now I can quickly play solution.
For the other sand casting ones, we decided instead of mixing, we're going to take dry sand and mix clay with water and kind of make a solution which will mix up. And so Patrick has been mixing this clay with the water by hand, and he's about got it. Okay, so we've got this mold. We know the other side's already separated, and so what I'm going to do is we're going to turn it over here. Oops. And then we're going to separate the halves. Well, I think that's what happens when you don't have a binder with the wet clay. So I didn't know if it was going to work. I figured we'll try it. It was able to turn this over by itself. So I'm going to get a little bit more here. I'm going to try to see if we can get it back. Okay, so we're going to turn this. Okay. We already had this down screwed. Figured to have to clean it up if it was going to work. Now, if we were just going to go for a lost pattern, like a lost wax or a lost foam pattern, we could leave that in there. Okay, let's see if it happens this way, see if it'll separate. Nope.
Better than last time?
Yep. So there was what happens if you just do wet sand with no clay to stick it all together. Okay, you can turn off there. Okay, so we got some more sand and with the water and clay mixture, and Patrick is going to pour that in right now and start mixing with his hands, I guess. Here's something that I used before.
I just really want to get rid of the things on my floor first.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm starting on my floor.
So Aaron is now, before I put that in there. So we had the 3D printed pattern gears, and we decided this wasn't a professional and just kind of a test, but we decided to have a half pattern. So that was printed out, and we got some sand with about 5%, 6%, 7% clay?
5% clay.
5% clay and 5% water, and we're going to try and see if this packs better and holds together long enough to get the pattern out. Okay, so Patrick is going to put some sand in there. We're going to pack it down. Go for it. So, and then we will put one of these in the oven and kind of dry it. before we cast it. So the 3D printed pattern is going to come out so he's packed in there tight. As you can see, it looks like it's a little tighter than it was before with just the wet clay, with the wet sand. I think the clay should help it to hold together a little bit more. So we got a square block to use to make these with, and we're using it to pack down the mixture. Looks pretty good there. We have to fill it clear full though, so we can, because we have to turn it over.
It should hold, I think.
What's that?
It's supposed to hold even without that.
Yeah, but when we tamp the other side there.
Let me add a little bit more, just filling out the whole thing.
Okay, before you turn it over. Oh, looks good except for the, yeah, well,
It needs a little bit here. Yeah, it's actually should have it stronger.
what's that? Maybe we'll just have to drill that out. Piece there. Okay, I think we ought to go and stick that in the oven and let it dry for a while. Okay, so we packed it from the bottom with this, and we've got this in there. I put this in last this time, and so now we're trying scraping it off. So we're trying to do this. So let's turn it there, turn it this way. And then we got to make our pour hole, our fill spout.
I want to do it.
What's that? I think we should make something before we take that out.
Solid wood.
So we've tried again there. When we pull this out, we've got sand and clay sticking to our pattern. So it's it's sticking too much. So we had some problems sticking, and so what we decided to do here is we got some PAM or vegetable oil we already had. So we sprayed some on here, and we're gonna put some sand on it again, the other half of this. So we're gonna try to pack that all around and see if we can get that to pack in tightly. So we're trying to get this around all the edges of the gear half, the teeth. Okay, so we're putting some more sand in here with the sand and clay and packing it in tight. Gonna slightly overfill it, and then we'll use the so we're gonna do one other one after this, and we'll just use a regular 3D printed gear for the pattern for it. Oh, we just tried making a pour spout, and it popped some of the sand out the bottom, and so we do have a hole right there, but I think we're just gonna let this go in the oven, and we'll dry it, and we'll clean it out when we get finished. We should have somewhat of a cavity on the other side.
Okay, so here is our furnace oven that we're using to melt the cans. As you can see, they're crushed up pretty small. I had to bend a couple, but they are crushed. And I'm gonna add more cans in because they're melting quickly. So the melting point of aluminum is around 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. So I have this set at around 1800 degrees Fahrenheit, just so we have a added temperature gap. Make sure that they melt completely, and also that we can burn off the paint on the cans and all that dye and stuff. So I'm going to put some more cans in. Okay, so I'm going to use these tongs, and I'm going to get some bigger gloves on, and I'm going to put some more cans in this furnace to melt, because we need more cans. We have more cans to melt. As you can see, this is our crucible here. We are using it to melt these cans. It's a high temperature one, so it's will be fine for this application. You might see some flames coming from the cans when I put them in, because that is just the paint burning off. They can be toxic fumes, so I am wearing a respiratory mask and staying relatively far away from the open flame here. As you can see, it's a bit hard to put the cans in, but once they start melting and they melt down, it's a lot easier. See, this one's already starting to melt here. There we go. So I'm going to let that melt. Close that. And there we go. Our cans are melting.
Okay, so we've had problems with making good quality the sandcast mold before, so what we're going to do here is we're going to put this worst of our 3D printed patterns in, if I can get it to focus. This one's got a little hole, but we're going to put this one in, and we're going to pack the sand around it, and we're just going to leave this piece in with the two halves here. And so we'll pack the sand here, then we'll turn it over and pack more around it. And then we're just going to have a sacrificial pattern. Hopefully the molten aluminum will melt this ABS and we'll get a good gear out of it. Okay, so Patrick is packing some sand and clay mixture around it, and he's going to pack it in there. Go ahead. And we did put a little bit more water with this mixture. We thought maybe it was drying out, and so we're going to pack it all tight. Okay, then packing some more here. Oh, there's our sand slid out. Well, okay, we're trying again. We take the wooden block out there. We're trying to do that, and we're going to just use one of the mold halves, and we're going to pack the sand around. And so we're going to pack the sand around that, and then we will make a bigger fill hole in a minute. So as you can tell, we're learning about sand casting. So we'll make some other vent holes later. Okay, Patrick is packing some more around here. That drill bit is going to be turning a fill hole. So okay, so Patrick's got this, and now he's going to
Make a hole around here
make a bigger hole around it.
before I take this off. So what do you think?
You ready to pull it out?
Ready?
Yep. Okay. And there's the hole, fill hole. Now we need to make an air hole. We have to make that in the others too. This is the first mold that we put in the oven to dry it, and it's dried quite well. And it's quite hard, you can see from this, and so we're gonna just clean that up a little bit and then put it back in the oven a little while longer. But it's hardened up quite well. Okay, so Aaron he's been melting aluminum there, and we got some well, he showed you all that stuff, and so he's going to take this aluminum out and he's going to set it in a brick. Okay, molten aluminum right there. Okay, and then he's going to take these tongs Okay, so then he's going to start pouring into our molds. Try pouring over into this other one there. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so it looks like maybe we should have heated up our molds. We'll see, but anyway, I think we're finished pouring there. To see, show this, it's solidifying there. This one is solidifying as well. Okay, so this is the leftover aluminum with some residue on that, and this is the stuff that was taken out there. It's starting to solidify, and we hope that that's going to shrink when it comes out of this, so it'll come out of the graphite mold. Anyway, so that's the end of our first sand casting. Okay, yep. So we're going to be pushing out there. So this is the one we had that.
Okay. Part is still good. I just got the tape mounted a little bit.
Oh, down a little lower, can't see it
Yeah,
there.
sorry. I saw the camera is up.
Okay, so it didn't really melt. It didn't really melt the ABS plastic there. So we should have had the mold heated up there. Okay. I'm taping now, so we can. This is the one we got the heated stuff, so I can let's lift it up and see what we got underneath there. So it's spread out, and that's, even though this is in the oven, it was still damp, and so that brought all the moisture by it. There's our cast part there.
I'm just gonna knock it off.
Okay.
Still hot.
Yeah, it is hot. I didn't think it was at first. Okay, well, not much. Doesn't really look like a gear. Still pretty hot there. So I would say for this one, we didn't have our two mold halves lined up right, but it appears like this was the best out of our options, and we would need to let it dry more. And so, okay, there's the pieces. That's what's left. But I was trying to force this down to that. Okay, so drying it did make that part stronger. It didn't break up there, but it's actually reproducing our mold part. That's the critical thing here. Okay, I'm going to stop. Okay, so just one last video part here, and so we can see the hot temperatures from the aluminum. It's kind of charged some of this stuff, but so I don't know if we could reuse this combination of clay and sand, whatever. But anyway, so looking closer right there. So the aluminum, this is one piece. It didn't really melt that. We should use something a little better. Melt it out first. For this one, still pretty hot. It did fill the mold, and it didn't take as much aluminum as we thought to fill the mold. Yeah, turned over there. Okay, and so even if it was a good cast, we'd still have to cut off this part right there and machine the inside. But anyway, we're learning, and we'll do better next time.